What's up, y'all? It's Monday. Let's get it going. What's up, everybody? It is Monday here. It is July 29th, the year of our Lord. And what a weekend. What a weekend. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here, but I'm so happy to be here live with all of you as always. I already see Starlord is in the house. Dang, that was better than Here's Johnny. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the comment and the sentiment. But Starlord, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. And I hope you're having an awesome Monday. As always, I am also live vertically. If you prefer that format, I provide options for all. You got here on the usual format on your horizontal stream, but also if you prefer to watch things in a more vertical, phone-friendly format, I am also live on YouTube Shorts. Happy to see everyone, as always, like I do every week, on board. Like I said, a lot to talk about. Obviously, the weekend belonged to Marvel, whether it was positive or negative. You got that massive, massive performance of Deadpool and Wolverine. Not surprised, but I am very nicely surprised on how well it did. I knew it was going to do gangbusters, but I wasn't expecting it to be that good. But we'll talk about that with the weekend box office breakdown. Also, San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel. Did they own the show, or did they ruin it for everybody? We'll talk about that. I have to say, look, I've always known for a very long time the internet is filled with negativity, especially on social media, especially when you're on platforms like Twitter, X, Twix, however you want to call it. But the amount of visceral hate I saw pouring out Saturday night, ever since the announcement was made that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be back in the MCU and playing Victor Von Doom out of all people, the amount of visceral hate, it was staggering to me. For every one possible positive comment, I saw at least 10 to 15 negative comments about it. And not just like, oh, this is a bad move, Marvel. No. It was like as if someone went to their backs and stabbed them 50 times. That's how bad it was. It was like someone went to their houses, took a giant dump on their beds. They pulled a Amber Heard, and it was amazing. On top of that, the more and more visceral hatred for Deadpool and Wolverine I saw online. It was just unbelievable. And I couldn't help but laugh at it. I'm like, what brings someone to so much hatred that they had to, post a tweet or a Twix about it? Not once, not twice, but I saw someone post 5 times in a matter of 2 hours their amount of hatred for RDJ being cast as Doom. Then to follow up the next day with a post saying that, I woke up this morning and I still can't believe my dreams have been shattered or my world has crumbled. Blah, blah, blah. Really? Is it that serious, guys? This is just a movie universe, y'all. And like I said, when I was talking about Deadpool and Wolverine on Friday, I said that movie did not solve anything with the multiverse. The multiverse was still active. So anything is possible. That movie proved it. And that only means that Marvel was going to do whatever it takes to entice you, intrigue you, cause confusion maybe for some, right? But yeah, it is interesting. I'm going to read you some of these posts. And just to show you how hateful people can get. I mean, this is no surprise to a lot of us, especially in any fandom. We've seen it with Star Wars. We've seen it, of course, with Marvel before. We've seen it with DC. We've seen it. All fandoms out there have these pockets of people that will spew so much hatred for something just because it's not what they wanted, or just because it's not what they were expecting. But it is amazing. So, we're definitely going to be talking about all the, San Diego Comic-Con news, especially from Marvel. Because Marvel was the big talk of the weekend. And to be honest with you, Marvel didn't even do much. They only made some small announcements that were not huge surprises, because a lot of speculation and rumors have been going around already. So I don't know if this is like the best kept secrets. Because again, if you're like me and you're constantly reading up on news and looking at all these things, RDJ was rumored to come back for some time now. We just didn't know to what capacity. There was a possibility that he could have been Doom. We don't know, right? But, the Russo's coming back. That was already teased earlier last week, maybe the week before. So it was nice that they finally made it official. But other than that, Marvel didn't really have much to show. Nobody did. I was looking through all the announcements, and yeah, you had like little announcements here and there. We're getting a new Dexter prequel series. Michael C. Hall's coming back for that. So for those of you who are fans of Dexter, that's awesome. Other movies that are coming out this year had their little panels, but nothing like jaw-dropping or anything outstanding. I mean, if you're a Star Trek fan, they announced a lot of stuff this past weekend. A new show, a new movie. They gave you a tease of this other new series coming out. So if you're a fan of all that stuff, you had a lot of stuff to talk about this weekend. But obviously it was Marvel, Marvel, Marvel all throughout. So we'll talk about that as well. And of course, House of the Dragon, the latest episode dropped yesterday. And we're getting ready for some big things there. So again, a lot to talk about, but I'm happy as always to be here on a Monday. And I hope you are all happy as well. Just a quick note, there is a poll in the chat if you'd like to participate. Let us know in the chat, in the poll, is the casting of RDJ as Dr. Doom a good thing? Yes or no? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments and all that. So I'm definitely interested to hear all of your thoughts. Let's see. Star-Lord, I can't beat RDJ announcement of Dr. Doom though. Well, you did a very good job. Very like it. AKB is also in the house. Star-Lord saying, I'm not bothered by it, given that Michael Keaton played bad guys before, especially in Spider-Man. Came back as his iconic Batman like nothing happened. RDJ, Dr. Doom is pretty much the same thing. It won't hurt his iconic Iron Man. I totally agree. I do also have some additional thoughts that I will add to that. AKB, I thought the RDJ as Doom was the jaw dropper. The fan vids sounded like the SDCC fans were super happy at the reveal. Well, I'm going to read you some negative comments, which pretty much ruled the roost in my feeds all throughout the weekend, which I was pretty much very much surprised about. And these are not just like random fans. These are movie pundits. These are people who cover comic book movie news. These are critics. I mean, it's the gamut. It's crazy. Arnold, what's going on? Arnold is chiming in on the vertical stream. Always happy to see you here. I hope you had a great weekend. He is tired. He just came home from work. I hope you have a chance to relax now. Anoop, what's going on, Anoop? Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. But my opinion was that Dr. Doom is the best casting for Tony Stark. Right, Tony Stark is Iron Man. I am Iron Man. So it sounds like Anoop is very happy about that. So, look, I'm not saying that it was all negativity. But from the looks of it, it was definitely 50-50 from my feed. Like I said, for every one positive comment, I saw at least 5 to 10 negative comments. And like I said, there was this one person who went out of her way to show her displeasure of the announcement that they had. She had to keep tweeting about it. Just kept going and going and going. Just like, all right, once and enough, maybe twice. But man, the amount of hatred for this. Marvel ruined my life. Well, I'm sorry to hear it. I feel bad for you. Not really, but it ain't that serious. But for some, it is. I'm saying, yes, bro, probably won't stay long. No worries, man. Hey, gotta relax. working, sometimes long shifts like you do is not easy. So I am just always happy for you to at least just come by and say hi. That's all it takes. Also, for everyone watching live, another thing that will make us happy, make Arnold happy, especially after a very long day of work, is to hit that like button. Hit the like button. It will bring a huge smile to his face, smile to everyone's faces here checking out the stream. And again, I'm very happy and excited to talk about all of this stuff that transpired through the weekend. Why don't we start that now? Let's start off with the weekend box office, because as I predicted several months ago, even going as far back as last year, I said Deadpool and Wolverine was going to be the #1 movie of this year. I know I've said this before over and over again, but I predicted Top Gun Maverick was going to be the big movie of that year. I predicted last year that Barbie was going to be the #1 top movie of the year. And I even said that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be that movie for this year. To what extent, I was not ready to say. I could speculate. But let's think about this real quick. In 3 days, 3.5 if you count Thursday nights, right? Because that's always preview nights. Deadpool and Wolverine, on a worldwide scale, made more money than the last Marvel movie, which happened to be the Marvels, during its entire run. 3 days, 3.5. It's bonkers. It's crazy. It is now the 6th highest opening of any movie out there that's ever been released. What other records did it break? I don't know. It broke a lot. And we'll talk about all that. But before we do, let's go look at the numbers. And let's go look at how this thing performed overall. Anoop, Tony Stark is best casting for Doctor Doom. What Superman is best Batman. Wonder Woman, MCU, the best thing in the world. Anoop is just super happy about the casting. So I'm glad to hear it. Star-Lord, is it better to be feared or respected? I say, why not both? RDJ quote in Iron Man introduction to the Jericho with his arms open wide. I introduced to you the Jericho. So him playing an antagonist now makes sense because he will be feared. Not only that, but in my opinion, he's going to cause conflict. Because again, we're dealing with the multiverses and all those stuff like that. Could you imagine Tom Holland's Spider-Man? What would happen if he comes face to face with Doom and it is revealed that it is Tony Stark? Mr. Stark? You're bad? Could you imagine at least the emotional toll to see on screen when Peter Parker sees that his mentor, the guy that he looks up to, who sacrificed himself for the greater good, is now the bad guy? How would you feel if that was you? Crazy stuff, right? Arnold, Game of Thrones episode was crazy. House of the Dragon episode 7. It was serious, man. We got a lot more chess playing, a lot more setup. The Dance of the Dragons is coming. And we got a nice little preview of it. And I can't wait to talk about it later. But let's talk about this box office right now, all right? So Deadpool and Wolverine. This is still estimated numbers. It keeps increasing and increasing every couple or so hours. This morning, it was 205 million domestic. 205 million, yeah. Now it's 211. I saw other outlets reporting maybe 215. So they're still tallying it all up. They're still like, they're counting the receipts. They're using their abacuses, carrying the ones. They're doing all that stuff, counting straws. I don't know how you do it. I'm not good at math. But they're counting all the receipts and all the numbers and the money. You got the guys there at the box office doing their thing, probably wearing that visor like the accountants wear, right? And they're doing those things, ka-ching, 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 using their adding machines, pa-pa-pa-pa-pa, chika, chika, chika. And then they're calling in Marvel Studios' headquarters. All right, we got, ba-ba-ba-ba. That's a tally. Add it up. But as of right now, as of this moment, Deadpool and Wolverine, 211 million domestic. Huge, huge opening. The biggest opening, I think, of this year. This beats Inside Out 2 with their opening. This beats everything so far this year. Let's look at worldwide. Worldwide, 444 million. In a one weekend, they almost broke $500 million. Because look at that international box office. 233.3 million internationally. For an American-made film? What does that tell you about the star power of, in my opinion, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? Of course, people love Ryan Reynolds, and people love the character of Deadpool. But I think the number one draw here was definitely Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and it shows. It shows. 211 million. Look at all the other movies. Twister dropping down 57% from last weekend, doing 34.9 million domestically. I made a joke on Friday saying it was only going to do 10 million. I mean, obviously that was just a joke, but 30, just shy of 35. So I'm happy it did something. These are probably like spillage numbers. People are like, you know what? I had so much fun at the movies. Let's watch another one. Because that's basically what happened last year with Barbie and Oppenheimer, right? Some people planned it to be a double feature. Some people didn't, But you're going to see spillage. Despicable Me 4 dropping 40%, just shy of 15 million, landing in third. Inside Out 2, the aforementioned Inside Out 2, dropping down another 35% from the previous week, 8.3 million domestically. Long Legs is proving to be a huge winner for Neon. I believe this beats Parasite as their number one film of all time at the box office. Star power of Nicolas Cage and Micah Monroe. 69.2 million worldwide. It's expected to break 100 million, I believe, in a week or two. So happy for Long Legs there. Quiet Place Day 1 dropped to 6. 3.1 million domestic. Bad Boys Ride or Die, 1.3. Fabulous Fours, a new movie that not a lot of people heard about. But I believe it's a movie about the Temptations, I think, or something like that. Not very heavily marketed, $1 million. And then everything else after that is under $1 million. So, Twisters, let's look at their worldwide box office real quick. 220 million, almost 221. So I think for Twisters, for a movie like that a lot of people were not expecting to do as well as it did, I think that's respectable. I really do. I think those are good numbers. Does it deserve another follow-up? In my opinion, no. But it is definitely a nice reminder of what a great summer box office film is. This is one of those movies that you'll just have fun at the theater with, right? And I thought it was decent. I still think the original Twister is better. But Twisters, it had some stuff going for it. I was I'm really happy to see that it did this well. But let's talk more about Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm here at the Hollywood Reporter. Deadpool and Wolverine lands 6th biggest opening of all time, 211 million. Makes R-rated movie history. That's the number one key there. That's the one thing that people have to remember. This is an R-rated film. For an R-rated film to make this much money at the box office is unheard of. I mentioned before the first Deadpool worldwide claimed the top spot as best R-rated film of all time, beating Passion of the Christ. Can you just think about that real quick? For the longest time, it was Passion of the Christ that held the number one spot as far as biggest box office earner for an R-rated film. Then Deadpool beat that, and then Deadpool 2 had claim ownership for that, right? And now here comes the sequel of a sequel to a sequel. You have Deadpool and Wolverine now claiming it. So let me just quickly catch up on the chats. I don't intend to ignore them because I'm not. I'm just in my mode. So here we go. Starler saying RDJ looks very scary on stage. Let's look at his face. Hey, he's an actor. He's a great actor. AKB saying great point on the conflict that will reverberate throughout the MCU heroes. Also great protagonist antagonist point. Star-Lord. Funny how Twister's is second because Deadpool and Wolverine blew everyone else away. Hey-oh. Huge Jackman is humble too. He's awesome. You can tell he just enjoys life for what it is. Did you see that today he posted a great picture of him recreating that infamous X-Men animated picture of him lying on the couch holding up the photo frame, and then the photo frame just says Deadpool and Wolverine #1. I thought that was really cool. And then Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds did the same thing, and on his frame was a picture of Hugh Jackman looking at his own frame. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was great. AKB, no way, highest grossing R-rated movie ever. Tell you, ever. Arnold, I'm now making something to eat. Enjoy your meal, Arnold. I'm sure you're starving. Tomi is super conflicted on RDJ being Doom. Will he be one off of Doom? I mean, here's my speculation of it. And again, I'll talk more about it later on in the stream when I really break down the San Diego Comic-Con reveals. If you know Doom, and if you saw the presentation of Doom on stage, he is always known as having multiples. The Doombots, the clones, right? Now, also think about it this way. We still got the multiverse going on. So I think my speculation is that this is a variant, a Doom variant, right? I think we will get the true Doom revealed later on. This is just a tease. Remember, we don't know anything story-wise or plot-wise as to what the Russos are thinking for Doomsday, which is now the new title for Avengers 5. And that will lead into Secret Wars, right? I think between Doomsday and Secret Wars, we'll get the true reveal of who the real Doctor Doom is. You know, of course, don't forget, we also have the Fantastic Four in the mix. We'll have Galactus in the mix, all those things. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think this is just a nice... Marvel needed something to draw attention from the fans, whether it be positive or negative. I just don't think, or me personally, I was not expecting to see so much negativity at all. And again, like I said, I'm going to read a lot of the comments, and it's crazy, the stuff that I saw. T, what's going on, T? Nice to see you. It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. I'll be one who doesn't care for RDJ back as Doom. Well, there you go. I just thought of the same thing would be a one-off, just a small worry. Kevin Davis, Marvel Studios focus going to be less movies and more TV shows on Disney+. I actually don't agree with that, Kevin. I think what we just saw from San Diego Comic-Con is I think they are really going to focus more on movies because they need this. Deadpool and Wolverine proved it. They need more like this. So I think with them taking a step back, yes, they already have things in the can. They already have things in the works. But I think what they're going to do is really they're going to put it, just getting the Russos back shows you how serious they are about focusing on movies, right? They need it. They need people to come back. They need people to watch their movies again because they haven't really been getting that, with the exception of maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Which there's already like a strong fan base about that. But I think they're showing, with very little of what they announced at San Diego Comic-Con, that movies is their thing. Because they had all day on Saturday night to talk about Agatha, right? To talk about what other shows do they have coming up soon? Wonder Man, right? Daredevil. They had all the time. But what did they focus on? Movies. So I think we're going to see moving forward that's going to be a main focus. Yeah, they're still going to do their Disney Plus shows, but I think we're going to see less and less of that in the next couple of years. T saying it's a rash decision. I don't disagree with that. Star-Lord, you got to be a risk taker in the business because you know damn well he ain't coming back as Iron Man. He ain't getting younger. See, now I think that's what a lot of people were kind of speculating for the longest time. I think a lot of people were speculating that RDJ was going to come back as Iron Man, maybe an alternate reality Iron Man, right? But I think this adds a nice twist to it all. You know, what if? Now, again, I've always been a huge fan of the What If comic book series. I love the What If animated show. What if Tony Stark was Doom? And I think we're going to get that. You know, and for me, it's intriguing. Do I like it? I'm kind of split. I'm kind of in between. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Not like some of these people. AKB, this was definitely the publicity shot in the arm that Marvel needed. Yeah, because look, including myself, everyone's talking about it. Everyone. Even people who probably don't even care about Marvel, they're talking about it. They're taking their shots, right? Kevin Davis, Marvel Studios has had success post-Endgame. That's debatable. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy, I will agree that did well. I mean, every movie has done well, but I think success in the public eye is subjective. Maybe money-wise, they're still doing okay, but as far as the fans or casual fans liking the movies, that's definitely on the opposite side, you know? And I think now with Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, claiming the #1 spot, getting people excited again for Marvel, and this announcement that just happened, whether it's negative or positive, it's definitely having people talk about them again. And whether or not this translates into more success later on down the road, yet to be seen, right? But here we go. Let me just get back to this real quick. So, like I said, 211 million, sixth biggest opening of all time for any film, and by far the biggest launch for an R-rated film, according to final numbers. The original number, like I said before, was 205. The first Deadpool was the previous R-rated record holder at 133.7 million. The jump from 205 million to 211 is a big one. It underscores how the movie is outpacing all modeling. You know, on Friday, I was saying that the original projections was that Deadpool and Wolverine were going to do like around 160, 170. And then even last minute, I saw some people saying 180. I said 200 plus. There's no doubt about it. After what I saw on Thursday night, after I saw people's reactions, after what I felt with the movie coming out of it, I said 200 plus has to happen. And I saw more and more people saying that and that and that as the weekend was going. You know, among additional records domestically, wait, hold on. Deadpool 3 also shattered records for an R-rated pick on a global scale, opening at 233.1 million internationally from 55 material markets for a worldwide start of 441.1 million, up from Sunday's estimate of 438.3 million. Among additional records domestically, the film is the top opening ever for Ryan Reynolds and Levy and co-lead Hugh Jackman. Huge Jackman at this point, and the fourth biggest superhero launch. It's also the top July opening, as well as the biggest launch since Spider-Man No Way Home in December of 2021, when the Sony Marvel pick opened to 260.1 million domestically. Globally, it's also the biggest opening since No Way Home, after passing up Avatar: The Way of the Water, which did 439 million on Sunday. And it pushed Marvel's MCU movies past the $30 billion mark in combined worldwide ticket sales, further solidifying it as the top grossing franchise in history. That includes movies distributed by Sony, Paramount, and Universal versus just Disney alone. Premium format screens contributed to 18% of the gross, led by 36.5 million in IMAX ticket sales, a July and R-rated record for the large format exhibitor. Look at that. See, and like I mentioned before, it was expected to open 160 million to 175 in North America, which obviously it beat hand over fist. So, again, a lot of speculation abound. Will this bring Marvel back into fruition? Time will tell. Time will tell. You know, there's a lot of factors involved. You know, the article also continues to say that China led all foreign markets with 24 million, which is a solid showing for a Hollywood film braving tough conditions at the China box office, which it's never recovered since the whole pandemic thing. And again, this is amazing because when you think of it, this is an American film doing extremely well in the China box office with no main Chinese actors or actresses in the film at all. So is this just saying that people and audiences are they're just excited for a new big movie internationally? Who knows? I don't know why I took this off. Let me go back to this article real quick. The pick came in well ahead of the previous two Deadpool movies in almost all markets. The UK turned in a hefty 22.1 million, followed by Mexico with 18.7 million, Australia with 13 million, and Germany and India with 10 million each. So a lot of records, not just domestically, but internationally as well. So amazing stuff. And this is just the first weekend. The first weekend. I see this having big legs. Why? Repeat viewing. Like I said before on Friday, this is a movie that lends itself to people wanting to watch it 2 times, 3 times. Can I catch all the Easter eggs? Can I catch all the jokes? Can I just have another fun time at the theater? You know, what? You didn't see it? Yep, let's go. I'll watch it again. You're going to get a lot of that. A lot of that. And I think that's going to lead into this weekend. Because what's the movie that's opening this weekend? You have M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, which I think will do decently. I think a lot of people are intrigued with this premise of a movie. I am too. And of course, I'm going to watch it. And then again, I watch everything. So you're definitely going to get people who are going to watch that. But there's no way it's going to beat Deadpool and Wolverine. I think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be the top spot for the next 3 weeks at least. And quite a feat, like I said. So there you go. Who here has seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet? And do you think it's well deserving of its success so far? Let me know in the chat. All right, let me get back to the chat. AKB saying, I'm with you on the what if. Stoller saying, think about undoing him saying, I am Iron Man and snapping his fingers. AKB saying, like he said, at San Diego Comic-Con, same task, different mask. Task is to save the universe, maybe multiverse now, food for thought. T, I just look at his Iron Man as iconic. In my opinion, he might pull it off, but it seems like upwards battle. That's what T is saying in the chat. Starlord7, even an alternate Iron Man could undo that. It's too iconic of a last moment. You got to account for everything. T saying RDJ can't come in and do his witty thing. He has done playing Tony, Holmes, etc. Doom is different beast. Starlord, I mentioned Risk, but it's safer to be Doom, to be honest. T, you'll have folks watching this 3 to 4 times with Easter eggs. That's a comment for Deadpool and Wolverine, and I agree. I'm going to be watching it for a second time this week. I have to. I've been waiting. When can I watch this movie again? So I'm definitely going to be doing it, probably on Thursday. Kevin Davis in the vertical, Deadpool and Wolverine box office to be run prediction, $1 to $1.3 billion. I do not think you are far off from that. I do agree that could be a huge possibility. And again, it's all going to be attributed to repeat viewing. Repeat viewing. That's going to be the number one thing here. And you'll see it. You'll see it for sure. So yeah. So again, I knew it was going to be big. I wasn't expecting it to be as big as it is, but I'm so happy for it. I'm very, very happy for it. And overall, it looks like it was very positively received from most people, with a few exceptions. And I think now I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of the negative comments that I've seen on Twix about Deadpool and Wolverine. And I only have a small sampling. From what I'm going to be reading to you now is maybe 1/3 of what I saw since Friday. I just didn't want to say them all. There's just a lot. And T is correct. Unfortunately, there are spoilers all over the place too. So it's very hard to be on social media right now if you have not seen the movie and you want to see it. Because I'll be honest. They spoiled it at San Diego Comic-Con for everybody. For any outlet that was covering San Diego Comic-Con, for those of you who don't know, Marvel had 2 panels this year at San Diego Comic-Con. One dedicated just to Deadpool and Wolverine on Thursday, opening preview day for the movie. And then one on Saturday, which is the big one that everyone's talking about. But on Thursday night, they had a panel. They brought in Sean Levy, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman on there, you know, telling everyone we're so thankful that you're all here, blah, blah. Hey, guess what? Everyone in attendance today, let's watch the movie. They screened the movie to everyone, and then what did they do at the end of the movie? Ladies and gentlemen, here's redacted, 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 redacted. They brought on everyone who had a cameo in the movie. And if you were an entertainment outlet, what were you covering online? Guess who was on stage at the Marvel Deadpool and Wolverine panel? You couldn't escape it. You couldn't escape it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Arnold asking in the vertical chat, how many minutes will you be about the House of the Dragons? I just asked that I know when to turn on after dinner. It's going to be a while because I'm going to be talking about some of these reactions to Deadpool and Wolverine, and then I'm going to be talking about the San Diego Comic-Con news. So maybe 25 minutes. I'll turn my attention, 25 to 30 minutes. I'll turn my attention to House of the Dragon, Arnold. So if you can hang on till then, that would be great. Kevin Davis, do you think Jared Leto, Tron, Ares will be as successful at the box office? Look, I'll say this. I was very looking forward to Tron. Was it Tron Legacy? The last Tron that came out with the Daft Punk soundtrack, right? But it didn't do well at the box office. I don't think anyone was expecting there to be another Tron. I think you will have a fan base, people like myself, who enjoyed the Tron series, but I don't think Tron will do well at the box office. That's just my opinion. Star-Lord Plus, I don't know too much about Doom as a character, so this will give me a chance to follow him and learn in a new way. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you have like suggestions for Star-Lord or anybody to kind of get yourself more familiar with Doom, please share them in the chat. You know, like I don't know off the top of my head anything that comes to mind, but I know Doom a little bit more than a casual viewer, because Fantastic Four was definitely one of my favorite comics growing up as a kid. Doom is a very complex character. And a lot of nuances to this character. So that's why when I saw this announcement happen, I was like, okay, interesting, but this is not the full story. We're just getting teased a little bit about it. I think there's definitely more to it than anything else. So also, there was a story plot line in one of the comics of Tony Stark becoming Doom at one point. So they could be borrowing some of that stuff. Who knows? But I guess we'll see when we learn more. Again, we don't know anything about these new movies coming out yet. But think of it this way. The Russos have given us some of the best Marvel movies that we've seen. Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. They took a break, and their reasoning for coming back is because they thought of something that is worthy to come back for. So maybe they have an interesting story that they want to tell. Something, you know, that will be intriguing and fun. But we don't know what that is yet. Is it now the time to turn our backs on the Russos for making an announcement like this? Maybe, maybe not. But maybe we're reacting too quickly on it. But maybe, like to T's point, maybe they're also being desperate. They need to throw something out there. You know? Time will tell. Well, let's read some of these tweets. Kevin Davis, do you think Joker Folie à Deux will finish the top 10 at the box office for the year? I think it has potential to. Because I think right now the top earners of the box office will be Dune, Inside Out 2, Twisters, probably Bad Boys for Life, you could include in that. Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously, and that's 5 already, right? I know there's a lot of people looking forward to Joker when that comes out. I more than likely Wicked will be in that, and Moana, right? The new Moana movie we're getting. I can't think off the top of my head of anything else that could do better. No one's going to do better than Deadpool and Wolverine. But for everything else, I can't think of anything else that will do better. Hey, this ain't good, fellas. We don't need to turn our backs on anyone. Well, you know what? Tell these guys, and I'm about to read these tweets on. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right. The first one. And maybe this won't look good on screen. So maybe this is a bad idea. But here, let me see. Let me just go back here. As you can see, I've been saving and bookmarking everything because I had to read some of this stuff. So if you can't see this on the vertical, I do apologize. Scorch, what's going on? Awesome to always see you here. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're having a great Monday so far. Fantastic Four, Unthinkable. I love how the new name, too, is First Steps. That tells you something, too. You got to think about that. All right. Jeff Zhang. Jeff Zhang is a film critic. 27.1 thousand followers. Right? This is his reaction to Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine are fuck-ass fan fiction the movie. Aborted projects, Reddit posts, and the most annoying fan wish list tweets you can imagine all rolled into a glorified clip show slop. One of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. No one deserves this. Wow. Wow. Next, Maxwell Haddad. I think he's a writer. The reason why I follow him is because he follows me, but I don't always agree with his tweets. Here's what he had to say. Deadpool and Wolverine is utter garbage. A dramatically inert, idiotic, tonally messy, visually ugly exercise in unearned fan service and corporate masturbation. The action is interminable, and the jokes are deeply unfunny. Its attempts at meaning are laughable, excruciating. Again, what brings someone that has such visceral hatred for something to say something like this online? If you didn't like the movie, you didn't like the movie. But man, to go all in like that, that is freaking unbelievable. Next up here, Ashley Lynch, who is I guess she works in film as a post-production person. The weirdest part about Deadpool and Wolverine is how hard it tries to gaslight you into thinking you've got the warm fuzzies for 20th Century Fox's entire slate of Marvel movies, many of which have been thoroughly derided as some of the worst movies ever. Man, oh man, people need to calm their asses down. Calm down. Here's another one. Cam Lodge. Oh, Guy Lodge, sorry. Guy Lodge is another film critic. I believe he writes for Variety. Yeah, Variety, The Observer, The Guardian, and more. I've sat through a lot of dreary superhero films, but Deadpool and Wolverine was the first to actually make me think mainstream cinema might not be salvageable. Wow. Really? So that's it, everybody. Guy said it. Mainstream cinema is doomed forever. No pun intended. That's it. Goodbye, mainstream cinema. We're all a bunch of idiots. And we're in for nothing but terrible schlock and trash for the next years to come. Guy said it. That's it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. By the way, T, I love your titles. These titles are, these are the recommended titles for you to read. I remember Emperor of Doom. That was a good one. Books of Doom is great too. And of course, Secret Wars. I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Oh, that's it. I should just hang up my webcam and rip this down. You know, fuck you guys. You guys suck. You know, toss all my equipment out the window because my YouTubing days are over. I shouldn't be talking about movies anymore. Because you know what? It doesn't matter because they all suck. Mainstream cinema might not be salvageable at all. At least there's hope for indie cinema. Because he said mainstream. So indie stuff I can still talk about. So at least I can talk more about A24 movies when they come out. But I guess when it comes to Disney and Warner Brothers and Paramount and Universal, those movies, I can't talk about them anymore. That's it. So welcome to the future of Low-Key Geek. It's going to be indie movies all day, every day. Let's go. Kevin Davis and the Vertical Stream. I'm not shocked or surprised that Marvel Studios move on from Jonathan Majors' character. Kang put the focus on Doom. I think what they did is that they repurposed the character. Doom, again, if you know the character, if you read the comics, he is known for, you know, having his own Doom bots, variations of himself. So the Council of Kangs could now be the Doom Army, right? Now, I don't know if they had this as a backup all along or if this is something they just last minute thought of, but you could easily switch them out. And at the same time, you could easily just put Kang in the closet for a bit and wait till an opportune moment to bring him back. Because Kang is still a very interesting character and it should not be ignored. But I think for now, they're just like, all right, look, everyone's been clamoring for Doom, right? Let's give him Doom. And it's a perfect time now. Like I said, you got the Fantastic Four movie coming out. Doom is a huge, huge part of Secret Wars. So it makes perfect sense to me, honestly. Quick reminder, everyone, don't forget, there is a poll in the chat. Let us know your thoughts and comments. Is it a smart move for RDJ to come back as Dr. Doom? Let us know your comments. And also, don't forget, hit that like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right. It's the end of the world. Starlet says, AKB mainstream cinema's over. Kiss your podcast goodbye. Sky is falling. Mr. Spawn Trap. What's going on, Mr. Spawn Trap? I think A24 is mainstream now. Not quite yet. There are some of their movies that do kind of fall into the mainstream, but they're not fully mainstream yet. I think give them a couple more years. I remember reading that they were looking into doing more like major budgeted blockbuster like films in the near future. So I think in time, yes. So I guess, yeah, in 2 years, I can't be talking about A24 anymore. So I might as well enjoy it while I can. T, if you want a redemption, Book of Doom, Infamous Iron Man is great. T, I totally agree. Starlight say, call Siskel and Ebert. It's time to go DEFCON 5 criticism. I think, Starlight, you also asked before, what does Stan Lee think of it all? I don't know. Is he rolling around in his grave? Oh, what are they doing? True believers, help me. Kevin Davis, do you think HBO House of the Dragon will ever break through and win Emmy Awards for Best Drama Series? I think so. I think the season's proving that it's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. All right, here we go. One last tweet about Deadpool and Wolverine. This is William Bibiani. Now, I've known this guy for a while. He's a film critic. He writes, he's been in the business for a long time. He was one of the older, I believe, now I could be wrong, but I believe he used to be old school Ain't It Cool News from back in the day. I believe. Could be wrong. But here we go. Deadpool and Wolverine is the MCU's love letter to Fox's X-Men movies. And folks, if anyone sends you a love letter like this, You should probably break up. And then he links his review on the wrap of a superficially entertaining but deeply hollow film, as he calls it, for Deadpool and Wolverine. So how about that? I guess I'm an idiot for liking Deadpool and Wolverine. I guess I'm one of those brainless automatons, right, that don't understand cinema. You know, I guess everybody else who loves Deadpool and Wolverine, everyone who contributed to $211 million domestic opening, we're all morons. But there you go. And I can only imagine, if I went on Rotten Tomatoes right now, what some of those comments would look like. But you know what? I'm not going to do it. Because I think just giving you that small sample, and like I said, this is just a third of what I've been seeing since Friday. It's amazing. It's amazing how a movie like this could destroy people's lives forever. Like I said, if you saw the movie over the weekend, let us know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to see them. T saying, I guess I'll just be brain dead. You know what, T? I am right there with you. I am right there with you. Let's all sing Kumbaya and be brain dead together. We'll hold hands in a circle. Well, let's not chant or anything like that, because we may all of a sudden see a witch flying by and be like, oh no, what the hell's going on there? Kevin Davis, do I think James Gunn will win fans over DC Studios with Superman 2025? I'm sure he hopes so. That is the movie that has to do well. It has to be good. Because for DC to reboot, bring in James Gunn and Peter Safran to do all that stuff, they need Superman to be amazing. Do I think it will happen? I'll say this. I've loved everything James Gunn has done. From the Marvel stuff, to his own stuff, to his small stint in DC with Suicide Squad, to Peacemaker. I've loved everything that he's done. So I do have faith in James Gunn. And we will see what happens next year. I'm sure around this time next year, we're going to be talking more and more about it. So I think he has the potential to win fans over. But it all depends on how good Superman is. Right? So we'll see. Sword saying, I have other worries. Oh no, his damn Xbox controller broke. That sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. That's a pain. The other day, I noticed my Xbox controller was starting to get that drift on one of the sticks. I was like, oh man, it's not the end of the world, but it's annoying. So I feel you. I feel you. All right. Let's talk about this San Diego Comic-Con news. Because, like I said, a lot and very little was said, in my opinion. I was keeping up to date on a lot of stuff that was coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. And let's push Marvel out of the way for a bit. Okay? You didn't really have a lot of big reveals at all, really, if I'm to be completely honest with you. Yeah, you had your panels of like Alien Romulus that's coming out, right? There was a Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power panel, you know, which was pretty interesting. You know, you had Berserker with Todd McFarlane and Keanu Reeves hanging out together. You know, Todd McFarlane made an action figure of Berserker, and of course, there's still a promise of a Berserker movie or something coming out. The Penguin had its own little panel, you know, talking about the upcoming Max show. But there wasn't really any major mic drop or big reveal. We didn't even get a whole lot of trailers from the weekend, to be honest with you. Yeah, Kevin Smith's new movie just released their trailer this morning, which I haven't seen yet. You know, nothing from The Crow, which I found surprising, especially for a comic book movie, to not have anything talked about from San Diego Comic-Con. That kind of shows you something about that movie and makes me even more worried about it. You know, and, you know, the new Hellboy movie got another trailer. And they had their own panel, and people were talking a lot about it. They were saying like, "Oh, they're bringing horror back into Hellboy." So I'm like, "All right, that could be cool if you're into that." But it was really all Marvel, all Marvel. And Saturday night they came out swinging, big time. Nothing. Like I said, the one interesting thing was that they never talked about any of their upcoming Disney Plus shows. You have Agatha All Along that's coming out end of the year, right? I think you have season 3 of What If coming out. You have Ironheart that still yet has to come out. It's already done, right? No mention of Armor Wars at all. Nothing, no Daredevil, right? And that's the one everyone's waiting for. Nothing. They focus solely on movies because they know that's where they need to focus on. So first, obviously, we talked about Fantastic Four. They had the cast come up there, and then they showed they didn't even start filming yet, but they did show what looked like a technical reel that they put together, almost like test footage, but it was fully well produced, and it was leaked online, and I did watch it because I was curious. I had to see what they're talking about, and it feels very 60s nostalgic. Even the filtering and all that. Reed is like kind of like a teacher, a professor, and you see Sue Storm there, and they're astronauts, they're scientists, they're figuring things out. You didn't really see anything as far as like Thing being Thing. You just saw the actor being Ben Grimm, Joseph Quinn just being Johnny and all that. You can kind of see how the relationships are, them talking to each other, them gearing up to go into space. So you saw like their astronaut suits with the name tags all over. It looked fun. They even had like a blueprint of the Baxter building. I think that was part of the whole thing. Here, I'll share this with you. This was part of the little test footage that we saw. So there is going to be an existing Baxter building. And what was explained was that this is going to be a period in the 60s that we kind of know of, but is different. It's a more futurized, stylized 60s. Something similar to like what I said about Fallout, where Fallout kind of felt like that faux 50s, 60s era, but a more futurized version of it, like an alternate reality version of it. And it looked fun. It looked like it was a lot of fun. But the major tease at the end of this test footage that they were showing was you saw Galactus. That there was a brief moment where you saw a fully CG'd version of Galactus looking inside a building. Very quick. And that got me excited. I was like, oh, what? T says the Jeffersons. Yes. Very Jeffersons-like. But think of it like in the 60s era, right? So it promises to be a very fun and exciting movie, in my opinion. And they're saying it's not an origin story, which I think is good. And I think since this is an alternate reality, then we could be expecting multiverse stuff to be included, right? Eventually. We're going to have to find a way we can get the Fantastic Four in 616 in the Prime Legacy timeline, right? So I'm sure they're going to be revealing a lot of that stuff. But from what we saw, it looked really fun. You heard of one-off movies, don't get ready for one-off trailers? I mean, they put a lot of work in that little test thingy, right? So, let's see. Sorry, let me go back real quick. Started saying his controller malfunctioned. Again, I'm very sorry to hear about that. Like Jarvis when he found out about Doctor Doom. T. Gunn seems really close with writers of the DC title, so hopefully that's got a good thing. I agree. He respects them too, and he respects their creativity. So I think that's going to be a good thing too. Nothing from The Crow or any more promotions for Beetlejuice. Yeah, we didn't hear. That's another surprising thing. There wasn't like a Beetlejuice panel at San Diego Comic-Con. So it was kind of a weird Comic-Con, to be honest with you. Lazy asses need to learn from Deadpool and Wolverine. I want to see the new Kevin Smith movie. Been waiting for it. Well, that's good to know. Kevin Davis, do I think Kevin Feige will ever step down from producing movies at Marvel Studios? Not anytime soon. I never thought his job was in jeopardy, but I think a lot of people were questioning how thinly he was stretched around. Speaking of Fantastic Four, pun intended, he was stretched too thin. So I think now he's taking a step back and reeling things back in. And I think he's going to be with Marvel for a long time because he's been with Marvel for a long time. You know, he was back with Marvel back, you know, when they were still doing the Blade movies, the X-Men movies. You know, so he's been part of this family for a while. I don't think he's going to go away anytime soon. And Kevin also said Blade is not coming out in 2025. I don't know when that's going to happen. Oh my God, what's going on here? T gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much, T.
I'm going to come.
So happy to see it. Look at that. Tiny Gucci, Aggressively Relaxing, Geek Ledger, Scotch Geek Guy, and Anthony Lyons all got gift memberships. If you are watching here live, please make sure that you thank T for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much. T, you're amazing. Really, really happy for that. You don't understand how much that means to me. Thank you so much, T. Really greatly appreciate it. Arnold asking, will we see Silver Surfer? I don't. Well, we're supposed to be getting a version of Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four. It's a female version. She goes by a different name. I forgot. She's supposed to be the love interest of Silver Surfer. So I think we're going to get her, but the main Silver Surfer, I think personally, is still going to be around. So I think we'll see the main Silver Surfer probably later on, if I were to speculate and guess. T, thank you again. Awesome with the gifted subs. Really greatly appreciate it. Big time. So yeah, so they talked about Fantastic Four. Oh, by the way, I just came across another. This is when I love the internet. So for those of you who are familiar with the Deadpool and Wolverine, well, Deadpool comic books, I should say, you had Rob Liefeld, who of course created the character and did a lot of stuff with Deadpool. But you had famous comic book writer, Fabian Nicieza, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who is one of the longest running writers of Deadpool. And he also helped co-create Deadpool with Rob Liefeld. So there was a post, and I'm going to share this with you real quick. This guy named Jared, who I don't know who this guy is. All right. Looks like a random dude online. And he posted about Deadpool and Wolverine. They took your story, something that means so much to people like me, and turned it into something trivial. In which Fabian responded, they didn't. Eat that, you fuck. Sorry. I just had to get that out of the way. So I love it when, when people think they can be the top dog online, say whatever they want to say, and then they get their ass handed to them by the ones who should know better. It's glorious. It is truly glorious. And those are the moments where I love the internet for stuff like that. Arnold, I love the comics. Deadpool kills the Avengers. Oh, Deadpool has done everything. That's why I said on Friday, Deadpool is one of those figures in the comic books that is like a disruptor. He loves to just show up and disrupt things. That's right. Why don't... There you go, AKB. Exactly. But he likes to disrupt things. Why? Because he's like an agent of chaos. He loves, and plus it's all about him, right? So I love how he just shows up from time to time. Just doing what Deadpool does. And that's why I do think that we may not get another Deadpool movie anytime soon. Maybe eventually down the line we will. But if anything, we will see Deadpool show up randomly. We don't know when, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun knowing that he is in the MCU, right? Because anything can happen. And he breaks the fourth wall a lot better, in my opinion, than She-Hulk does. And they're talking about a season 2 of She-Hulk. So what if, let's think about this real quick. What if they come up with a She-Hulk season 2 and Deadpool disrupts that show? Could you imagine how funny that would be? I think that would be brilliant. Iker in the vertical chat wants me to speak Spanish. Doesn't know how to spell Spanish, but wants me to speak it anyway. So, hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? That means thank you for watching and thank you for your comment. So after Fantastic Four, of course, Kevin Feige, they started talking about Thunderbolts, because that is the next upcoming movie. He's talked about, I'm trying to think of the order here. Captain America, Brave New World. So he talked about that. Of course, brought the cast out. Giancarlo Esposito was there. And Giancarlo announced who the character is that he's playing finally. And Giancarlo reveals that he'll be playing the King of the Serpent Society, Seth Volker, aka Sidewinder. Now, I'm not so familiar with these characters in the comic books. So T, I know it looks like you're very well versed in the comic book stuff. Can you help explain who Seth Volker is and who the Serpent Society is for a lot of us who maybe are not so familiar? That would be great. Read the comic where they took his immortality. Interesting. Deadpool should show up in Agatha as Scarlet Witch. It would be funny if he showed up dressed up as Scarlet Witch, but we only see his back, and then he turns around and be like, well, hello there. I think that would be really hilarious. But yeah, so they talked about Brave New World, and Anthony Mackie was doing Anthony Mackie things, but the big draw there was Harrison Ford took the stage. And it's kind of revealed, and we kind of saw a glimpse of it in the trailer, that he's going to be Ross, but he's going to be the one that turns into Red Hulk, right? So Harrison Ford is on stage doing Red Hulk stuff and having a good time, just having a field day, having a blast, and everyone was loving it, right? So we had that little thing there. Then of course we talked about the Thunderbolts. They had the cast on stage. Everyone is saying Florence Pugh is the outstanding person in the film, which doesn't surprise me. Florence Pugh is an excellent actress. But David Harbour was doing his David Harbour stuff, So it was really cool just to see them talk about Thunderbolts and how interesting that movie is going to be moving forward. And then, of course, they did the whole reveal of the Russos joining the Marvel Universe once again. Coming back to not only direct Secret Wars, which is Avengers 6, but coming to direct the movie before that, or the big moment before that, leading to Secret Wars, which will be Doomsday, and revealing that Victor Von Doom is going to be the main baddie, in this current phase or future phase that we're in right now. And of course, the big reveal of Robert Downey Jr. there, which through the internet, through a whirlwind of reactions. T mentions also, yes, a fun thing that they did during the Fantastic Four moment in the panel was they showed the Fantastic car show up. It was like an actual functional Fantastic car that was flying on stage. And it looked great. It looked great. Look, I'm excited for this. I'm just excited for Fantastic Four to get another shot, a better shot at a movie, at live action. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, the big talk, obviously, was Robert Downey Jr. showing up on stage. With his, he already had a well-prepared phrase. Different mask or new mask, same task, right? Whatever the phrase is. So very, very interesting stuff there. And again, like I said, everyone went into a tizzy online about it all. So much so that I couldn't help but save a lot of the reactions online. which I'm going to share with a lot of you right now. And if you thought the Deadpool and Wolverine reactions were bad, oh boy, strap in, buckle up, because some of these reactions are horrible, really horrible. I mean, why not? They surprised us with Quicksilver in WandaVision. What was it, Matt Boner? That was the biggest troll that I think Marvel has done in the entire MCU. I loved it. Arnold saying, I find it funny who we've seen in House of the Dragon. Yeah, we'll be talking about House of the Dragon in a little bit, but I'm glad Arnold gave House of the Dragon the last episode a 5 out of 5. That's huge praise right there. And I think as of this audience here, Arnold is the biggest fan of House of the Dragon. So I'm glad you liked it. Clone Wars for life. What's going on, man? How was your competition on Saturday? I know you had a competition on Saturday. How was it? Let us know how it was. Also, to everyone who's watching live here, don't forget, hit that like button and vote in the poll if you think RDJ is a good idea to be cast back in the MCU as Doctor Doom. Spawn Trap, Ralph Boner. Sorry, you're right. Ralph Boner. That's right. Biggest troll. I couldn't help but laugh when that announcement was made. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. All right, let's read some of these reactions to RDJ's announcement from Comic-Con. So first up, you have Griffin Schiller. Biggest letdown of all time. I agree. I was excited. I was like, oh, look, now we could have the potential of, are they going to explore the idea that these are brother and sister, blah, 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 maybe alternate versions or whatever the case is, tie into the X-Men line. Nope. He's just Ralph Boner. Just normal dude. Just very coincidence. Clone Wars 2nd, 1st, and 5th in Grands, with a form that he made 2 weeks prior with a weapon started 2 weeks before. Clone Wars, that's awesome. Everybody congratulate Clone Wars on a great outing in his last competition on Saturday. I think that sounds amazing, dude. Very happy for it. How do you feel with your results? Let us know. But everyone, give a huge shout out to Clone Wars for life. React in the chat. Leave a heart for an amazing results. Meow, you're feisty? Who's feisty? Me? Maybe a little bit. But anyway, Griffin Schiller, who is, let's see who he is. He is a creator and host of Film Speak, contributor and host of Fourth Wall, and he is a Tomato Meter approved critic, all right? I'm sorry, but this is just embarrassing. You fumble such excitement of a bright future, introducing Doctor Doom, and then completely go back to the well. This is so beyond lame. Hashtag SDCC. Next one is from Cambit with a K, who plays it for keeps. I don't know who this person is. James Gunn, you just found your new biggest DCU supporter. I need you to bury these N-words. I think that was a little unnecessary, but he's definitely not a fan of the announcement. Next one up is Big Boss, who is a video games person. He is partnered on Twitch and looks like he's sponsored by Elgato. So we have a streamer. They changed Kang Dynasty to Avengers Doomsday and replaced Jonathan Majors with Robert Downey Jr., man. Generational bag fumble. Diabolical business play. What an idiot. With a name like Big Boss, he knows exactly what he's talking about, right? He should know. Next one up is Matt Neglia. I believe he's another film critic. He's an owner and editor-in-chief of the Entertainment Awards website Next Best Picture and host of NB Podcasts and a Critics' Choice member. Plus, he's a Gold Derby expert. Gold Derby is this site that they do projections and predictions of Oscar winners and nominations. When the news was announced, what the actual beep? Not a fan. Was not a fan of this. Now, here's something that I thought that was really interesting. This lady, or man, it's a lady, Derek Cottingham. She's an award-winning journalist, Black Southerner living in LA, right? Looks like they're doing the Anthony Stark Earth 11029 Doctor Doom variant adaptation. That'll be interesting. The thing about comic books is there's so much lore to pull from. Which I agree. It's very true. Marvel Comics has such a huge lore, a huge well of ideas to pull from. And what did Jay Washington say in response to this? He is a stand-up comedian, actor, also part of the New Rockstars team, big YouTube channel. But it's about so many of y'all internet faves talking it don't make any sense. They shouldn't do this, but at the same time wanting Marvel to tick to the source material just cause your choice and get picked. Don't make it the wrong one. I agree. So that is like the one small positive. Kind of say, relax, everybody. But nope, that didn't last long. Because then you have Ronaldo Transosco Jr. Looks like he has a blog, cinematictips.com. And he's a member of the International Film Critics Society. The supporting actress curse has transferred to the supporting actor category? I don't know who's more desperate, him or Feige. The worst part is that audiences will eat it up, just like they're doing with Deadpool and Friends. So he's putting a big kind of blame, or he's throwing shade at RDJ himself for agreeing to come back. Next, Anne writes comics. Looks like this is a comic book writer. 4 attempts to get Dr. Doom right. 4! And we still can't get this right. Boo to this announcement. Whitney Seibold, film critic. I've known this guy for a very long time. Christ! They're so fucking desperate. Griffin Schiller could not shut up. He had to post another one. A follow-up to his previous tweet. LOL. And I thought Hugh coming back for Deadpool and Wolverine was bad. Holy hell, this reeks of desperation. Why would you completely blow your legacy currency on this? And as your first Doctor Doom in the MCU? Come on, man. I knew y'all were desperate, but not this desperate. Look, I agree to a certain point. Yes, Marvel is desperate. And this could be just like a quick thing. You know. But we don't know yet what's going to happen. But that doesn't stop this train from going. And here is my favorite person. Maggie Lovett of Collider. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about her. But she posted about this 5 or 6 times all weekend. She could not stop herself. Basically, in this one, she said, please don't try to explain to me why this is good, cool, exciting, or okay. I'm so tired of the MCU blatantly erasing characters of Jewish and Romani descent. End of. Take your excuses elsewhere. This complaint department is closed. She followed up, which I didn't save, with another thing about her disappointment with it all. Now, she does bring up a good point. This is something that we've been complaining a lot about movies in general. Whitewashing, you know, forgetting the actual heritage or ethnicity of a certain character. Is that even important, right? That's a huge topic of conversation for a long time. But at the same time, I don't know. We don't know what they're planning here. This is a variant, people. This is not your main Doom. If it is your main Doom, I'll be shocked and I'll have other thoughts on it. But this is not your main Doom, y'all. This is a variant. This is just to tease things. This is just to get yourselves all wet and bothered, hot and bothered for when the main reveal is going to happen. Just wait. I bet you that's what's going to happen. And if it's not, I'll eat my words And I will tell you what I truly feel about the whole thing. To close it out, we have Amanda, who I believe is a film critic from Canada. Woke up this morning still pissed off about the Doctor Doom casting. I promise you this multiverse doesn't have to involve everyone in such a messed up way for variants to be used as cop-out. It's actually pretty boring. Pretty boring. So what say you all? Do you agree with a lot of these sentiments? I know T thinks it's a little lazy and desperate, which I am not going to disagree with at all. But I do think that if done right, this could be an amazing twist to a lot of things. And with the Russos at the helm, I think it could lead to some interesting storytelling. And like I said, if it does turn out that this is your main Doom, the end-all, be-all of all Doom, then I think I may slowly agree with everybody else. But we just don't know yet. We still have several years to go on this stuff. We'll see what happens. But a major kind of backlash out of all this. You win a lot of people's hopes, at least in the public eye, with Deadpool and Wolverine. And then now you have this. And now the fandom is split. Or maybe this is just a handful of people that happen to come across my feed on the weekend, and they don't talk majority. I don't know. It's hard to say at this point. But what do they always say? The most negative voices are the loudest ones. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I, for one, don't see this as a negative or 100% positive. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It gives me at least pause and think they're actually trying to work on something here. And it could be interesting. Getting the Russos back, I do feel like that's a little bit of a desperate move. T says cash grab, could be. I think a lot of people would say that Deadpool and Wolverine is a cash grab too, in a way, with all the stuff that they threw in there. But I think they are serious about at least making an interesting storyline that people would love, casual or comic book fan. You know? Could it be perceived as desperation? Absolutely. And like I said, I will not disagree with that. If all of Marvel's plans after Endgame was working, and all of their movies and TV shows were well received, and everyone was just loving everything, they'd be in a different situation right now, right? If the whole Jonathan Majors thing didn't happen in real life, we'd still be going against Kang. It still would be the Kang dynasty. And even if it did happen in real life, which it did, the whole Jonathan Majors thing, but everything else was going well for Marvel right now. Whatever they decided to do, people will be on board with. Because everything has been working. Everything has been working. Just like back in 2008, that started this whole domino effect of everything that led up until Endgame. Everything was working for the most part. Yeah, people were saying like Thor 2 was terrible. You know, Captain America, the first one, felt kind of slow and blah a little bit, but still at the end of the day, it was still a good movie. You know, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3 were terrible. I think a lot of people would say that. So Marvel hasn't always had a perfect track record, but they haven't been on this bad, stint like this ever before. So now they're regrouping. Now they're getting people back on it. Now they're getting people back excited and talking. And obviously, like I said before, everyone is talking about this. And I think, I would say give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe they've learned their lessons. Maybe Kevin Feige learned his lessons. And he's going to try to see what he can do to reinvigorate the whole thing. But don't put blame on RDJ. I bet you if he thought the script was terrible, he wouldn't do it. If he thought the idea was terrible, he wouldn't do it. But one, he respects the Russos for writing some of the best Marvel storylines in the MCU. And on top of that, he probably really liked what he saw. He's like, you know what? I'm down for this. Let's make this happen. But let's see. We have yet to be seen what's going to happen. RDJ's legendary, Starlord says, Hail Hydra. All the Hail Hydras. Hail Hydra, says the criticisms. Also, T said earlier before, and I'm just catching up a lot right now. Serpent Society is basically like mercenaries, hired by other groups like Hydra, went through different members. So there you go. Legacy, that's not how it works, Starlord says. Starlord said RDJ is legendary, big difference. Big talk in comic community, T saying. Mr. Spawntrap, variant makes perfect sense. Kill him after Secret Wars, reboot the MCU, boom. Your new Doom actor is in play. I don't disagree with that. I have a feeling that that could be the possibility here. Look, it's fine, say what you want, but you gotta take what they give you and make something of it. It's a matter of perspective. It's a job, it's always a cash grab. They ain't doing this shit for free, they are already rich. RDJ is desperate, is what they're saying. Make that make sense. T saying, if RDJ is back, give us Evans back as Cap. Chris Evans, sorry, back as Cap. That is not out of the question. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. That could be a possibility. Like I said, Deadpool and Wolverine did not close the doors on the multiverse, as a lot of people were speculating it might. At this point, it proved, if anything, anything is possible. So could that still happen? Maybe. They asked Chris Evans that recently. Does he think his Steve Rogers will ever come back? And he says probably not. So we'll see. Starlord saying RDJ is a Marvel fan, a true believer, and why would he want to sit on the sidelines watching others do roles? Again, he's not getting younger. I think, to a certain extent, yes, but I think also, if he didn't think it was a good idea, he wouldn't do it. Clone Wars, sorry I missed your chats before. He has another tournament coming up on Friday and Saturday of this week. Well, Clone Wars, you know, as always, I wish you luck on those things. I hope they do well. Arnold saying, I found his sentence nice. I have a new mask from now on. Arnold, I'm not really excited. I think it's going to be a failure as far as the new RDJ announcement. Clone Wars for Life says, Hail Hydra! Yeah! T says, also, just look at Doom's eyes in the mask in comics. How menacing they are. Cillian Murphy was my pick. Ooh, that would have been a good one. That definitely would have been. I mean, there was a lot of names being thrown back and forth. There was speculation that Giancarlo Esposito could have been one. There was talks of Henry Cavill maybe being one, being Doom. You know, RDJ was a rumor and speculation that a lot of people didn't take seriously, but that could have been. But obviously, that was the one that won out. You know, so there's a lot. You know, I think there were a lot of people speculating many different things. You know, but at the end of the day, this is what we got. And again, I will say this. This is not your main Doom. This is a variant. It's here to cause, I guess, in a way, disruption, right? Conflict. Once you see a Tom Holland seeing his mentor as a bad guy, how would he react? Right? How would everyone else react? Tony was the one who saved the universe. And now you're seeing a version of Tony who maybe wants to do the opposite. Who knows? But I think that's going to cause great conflict there. That could lead to whatever events are going to happen in Secret Wars. So, Arnold, we'll talk about House of the Dragon in about 10 minutes. I know you've been waiting for that, so I thank you for waiting. T saying, I also believe they are going to do Winter Soldier dirty in Thunderbolts. Have a feeling. That could happen. That could happen. Thunderbolts, I think, out of everything that they talked about, I think Thunderbolts is to me, still one of those questionable what's going to happen in this movie. You know, because if this is what they're saying to be like the Marvel Suicide Squad, a lot of bad could happen. You know, and maybe we could be saying goodbye to a lot of people that we kind of root for. You know, Bucky is a fan favorite. Could we be seeing Bucky, you know, like T says, be treated badly. Who knows? You know, it's going to be a very interesting to see overall. All right, let's quickly look at the poll. On the vertical poll, again, is it a good idea having Robert Downey Jr. back as Doctor Doom? Out of 19 votes, 74% says yes. 26% says no. So it looks like a lot of people are on board with this. Over in the horizontal, you have out of 6 votes, 67% says yes. 33% says no. So there you go. I think a lot of people, for the most part, think this is a good idea. Henry Cavill for Hyperion? Oh, that could be interesting. I guess that's a good question, too. Would we ever see Henry Cavill in the MCU? Well, pause. And that's all I'm going to say. But proper MCU. I don't want to... Maybe it's too late. Maybe I already spoiled it. But you know what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I don't want to... just want to ask because I can't stay awake that long because lately I've been around. No worries, Arnold. I get it. I want to also make sure that I cover everything that everyone wants to talk about. So I don't feel like you are pushing me or anything like that. I just want to give proper time to the topics of conversation. You know, Winter Soldier should have been Cap. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. Before we get into the House of the Dragon topic of conversation, did anything else stand out to anybody here during San Diego Comic-Con? Or are you like me, or did you feel like it was kind of a quiet Comic-Con? Wasn't really anything spectacular like in previous years, especially since there was like no major DC Studios presentation. Yeah, they did unveil their new DC Studios logo, which is a throwback to the classic DC Comics logo, which is cool. But no major talk about any of that stuff. They definitely talked a lot about the comic side of things. But I'm curious if anyone had any like other takeaways from the Comic-Con. Arnold likes my shirt. Thank you. One of my favorite Jim Lee covers of X-Men. I mean, in my opinion, no one draws the X-Men better than Jim Lee. Also, again, reminder to everyone watching on the live streams, don't forget, hit that like button. Arnold in the vertical stream had a long day. He's exhausted. But every like the stream gets, he gets more and more energetic, more and more awake. He bulks up like the Hulk. Or maybe in this case, like the Red Hulk. How interesting would it be when we see Harrison Ford transform into the Red Hulk for the first time? I think that's going to be fantastic. I also do love, I will say this too. I love the fact that Harrison Ford said it was tough shoes to fill in the role of Ross. You know, kind of like paying tribute to who? Oh God, why can't I think of his name? Someone help me out in the chat. Who's that? Oh, William Hurt. Yeah, he gave a little tribute to William Hurt during the presentation, so I thought that was very well played, very classy. But it's Harrison Ford. Do you expect any less, right? So, so I was saying Orgasmo. God, I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. That's really funny. Everyone's like anabolic steroids to me. Arnold. Wally West, Absolute Flash by Jeff Lemire. I'm hyped. Was that one of the things that they announced at the DC Comics panel? That sounds pretty interesting. Wally West. Bring him back. Okay, real quick. I just want to make sure. Let's see here. Is the world blowing up around us? No, it's not. Good. Good. Let's quickly check some of the Twitter headlines I'm getting notifications on. Let's see if anything is worthy talking about. Doesn't look like anything big. All right. That's good. Nothing too crazy. Too out of the ordinary. All right. Who's ready to talk about House of the Dragon here? I know Arnold is, right? Let's go. So this is episode 7 of House of the Dragon. We got one more episode left in this season. And what we got here in this episode was exciting. It was very exciting. I give this episode a 4 out of 5 stars. It's extremely exciting. It's a little bit of chess playing plus setup, right? But I love a lot of the stuff that we saw in this episode. I love a lot of the stuff here. So as always, I have my notes here, and I'll go through them. The episode started so strong with, I'm going to call her Queen R. Queen R confronting Adam, who we already know that Sea Smoke chose Adam as their dragon rider, right? And at this point, you didn't know what was going to happen. Are we going to be watching a major fight in front of us? Is this going to be like a big battle? But it was quite the opposite. Immediately, Adam pledged his allegiance to her. All he wants is just to learn the ways of a dragon rider. And he reiterated multiple times that it was Sea Smoke that chose him. He had nothing to do with it. And that threw Queen R for a loop. You know, she's just like, wow, I guess my plan could work. Because she was distraught and disappointed about what had transpired last episode. You know, when it all failed and poor guy got burnt to a crisp, right? Star-Lord's going to go buy a new controller. Star-Lord, good luck. If you look, I think if you look on Amazon, there may be a sale for Xbox controllers. I think you can get one for $40. I could be wrong, but if anyone else has insight on a cheap controller, Xbox controller for Star-Lord, let him know in the chat. RDJ Tropic Thunder Blade. That's funny. T also is a fan of House of the Dragon. Arnold, like in the books, this episode was amazing. So there you go. So the one, before we moved on from that opening moment, it was very curious and interesting that Adam did not mention that his father was Corlys. He's still keeping that very secret. So it was very, very interesting that he's holding that still very close to his vest there. And who knows if it will ever come out. I'm sure eventually it will be. I also love his name is Adam of Hull. Again, a lot of the names, are derived of where they're from. So of hull means he was probably born on a ship, the hull of a ship, right? So I do love that. That's just something that I wrote down. I was like, oh, I love how that is. And like I said, at the end of that exchange, she was extremely pleased that this is something that is a possibility. There's hope. You saw hope in her face, which was great. Alicent, I just feel terrible for her right now. She is just left out. She's distraught. She feels like she has no place anywhere. She feels, as she said, cast aside from it all. Everything around her just looks dirty and tainted. And on her mind, all she wants to do is get away. Get away from it all. You know, everything that she at once had control over, she no longer has control over anything. So it feels like she has no purpose and she feels lost. And I do feel bad for her, especially knowing how she grew up and everything like that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who don't have any empathy for her. but I do feel some empathy towards her for sure. We also get a moment with the council who still thinks Rhaenyra is silly for what she's doing. They think Adam stole Sea Smoke and that he should be held accountable for his crimes. You could also kind of tell that these people in the council just don't understand how the Targaryen heritage works at all, or just how Targaryens are in general. So it proves to me more and more that the council that Queen R has may not be the best counsel for her. The only one person that I would truly trust is Corlys at this point. And I feel like everyone else, I don't know if we'll see it eventually happen, but I think there needs to be kind of a change in her counsel. I love the conversation that she has with Mysaria about, you know, she used to run brothels and pleasure places and all that. And there could be so many bloodlines of Targaryen people hanging out everywhere around King's Landing that what we just saw happen with Adam could potentially happen to anybody. So what does this mean? It's time to now do a search of the bastards, right? So, and, you know, Queen R should learn to embrace this possibility out there. It's no longer a thinking of legacy, of such tight bloodlines and lineage. There's a lot of people out there who are results of the frugality of the Targaryen men and maybe women, right? And now it's time to build up an army of bastards. And then when that was mentioned, I was just like, oh, let's go. I love the little confrontation that Corlys has with Adam, kind of like a proud father looking at his son, not really being so emotional or endearing, but you have that one moment where he's like, well done. And you could see Adam, who is someone that has been striving and looking for acceptance and acknowledgement. In this one moment, he feels proud. He's like, I did something. And now my own father finally has some sort of respect and attention towards me. While on the opposite side, you have Alan, who is extremely happy doing what he's doing. You know, he's minding the ships, he's minding the fleet. People has his respects, and he doesn't mind doing that. So, you know, he now learned that his brother has Sea Smoke, and good for him. You know, he will have his part in this world, and I have mine. And Corlys seems to be like, okay, that's how you guys think. Fair enough. Arnold saying, do you know which dragon is true in the scene with the dead, burned animals? I just asked you because I know I don't want to spoil it. Oh, wait. I think I know, but I didn't write it down, but I think I know, and I'll get to that point, to that part. You see, what is this? Daemon over in, you know, still trying to get his army built together. The Tullys show up with the River Lords. You know, so we have a nice little conversation with young Oscar Tully. And he said, like, they've always kind of pledged allegiance to Viserys, and they will always continue to pledge allegiance towards Queen R. And he, even though he's very young, he's playing the role very well. And he's playing a lot of cat and mouse with Daemon. You know, he's testing his boundaries, but at the same time, he's holding above Daemon, kind of like a carrot in front of a rabbit, saying, do you want my army or not? Right? And Daemon, all he could do is just be like, you got some big cojones on you, dude. All right. But basically, what he's doing here is that he's saying that all the River Lords hates what happened, what Willem Blackwood did, right? The pillaging and the butchering and all that, all because Daemon basically told him to. But he wants justice served. So he's holding Willem Blackwood accountable for it all. And Willem's like, this was all under the order of Daemon. Daemon, back me up, son. And Daemon's quiet. He's like, I am, even though I do have my strength, and even though I can probably kill all these people right now, I need them. If I am to try to claim ownership of the throne, I need these people on my side. So at this point, you see him for the first time being like, I'm going to see where this goes. And basically, he's, like I said, they're asking for justice, right? So Daemon has to perform that justice right in front of everybody and executes Willem right in front of him, slices his head off. And that's the only way he could gain respect of every Riverlord there, right? I thought that was very, very strong. Then this leads to another vision that he has with Viserys holding the crown. You know, and Viserys is explaining to him, I never wanted this. You know, all the hurt, all the pain, all the anguish it comes with it. I never wanted any of that. But you, Daemon, you wanted this from day one. You're the one I know who wanted this the most. Now understanding and seeing everything happening around you, do you still want it? So this is the first time we also see Daemon for the first time maybe questioning his desire for the crown. You know, kind of begs the question, what's going to happen afterwards, right? We also see Aemond trying to learn to walk again. It's so excruciating. You could tell he's having such a hard time and it's just painful. But Larys is there to kind of like show some comfort and some empathy, but at the same time encouraging him and pushing him to recover soon because he needs Aemond back. I mean, Aegon. He needs Aegon back because the sooner he can come back, the sooner he'll have a right hand to him in the ruling of King's Landing and Westeros, right? So I love seeing all of that. Then you see Alicent going camping. She just wants nothing to do with King's Landing right now. And I thought that moment where she was walking into the water, I thought she was going to kill herself. I thought she was going to drown herself. But no, she's just trying to find solace as much as she can. Then there was a nice conversation between Jace and Rhaenyra. And in a way, this is the first time that we see that the reason why he's questioning everything, the reason why he's so protective of his mom is because he knows in her eyes that he is the heir, the next in line. But what is that going to look like when she keeps recruiting all this other Targaryen bloodlines with silver hair and all that? And here he is, black-haired, a bastard child. You know, he's not going to have a proper place and the respect of people if you're going to see all these other people with silver hair doing almost the same thing like he's doing. So what makes him the better heir and all that? So that was a very interesting conversation they had there. Mysaria is working with Alan to help gather as many of the silver-haired folks from King's Landing. The search for the bastards begin. That's exactly what I wrote. So, of course, that gives more meaning to the characters like Ulf, you know, who we've always seen in the bar telling his tales of, oh, I'm of Targaryen blood, blah, blah, blah. And Hugh, you know, I was not expecting him to be of Targaryen heritage, but this is what he reveals. It gave us more of his story as he's talking to his wife, that he knew his mom, and his mom was like a pleasure worker. She had silver hair. People would pay top dollar to sleep with her. We also found out that, unfortunately, their daughter died, who we saw was sick for several episodes. And he feels he has to do something. At this point, he has to do something. Everything he's tried has failed. Couldn't save his daughter's life. Couldn't bring food on the table, money on the table. He has to try. And this could be his last shot to make a difference. Right? So we also see Alan ushering in all the potential Targaryen bloodlines to Dragonstone. I thought that was very cool. Then we see the Dragon Keepers not very happy with Queen R's decision. You know, they are very much about keeping the heritage of the dragons and all those things sacred. They're not to be used as toys or playthings or pawns in this army, in this war that they really have nothing to do with, right? So it's very, very interesting there. So this is the one moment that I'm like, okay, where is this going to go? We get introduced to Vermithor, who I believe, and Arnold, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, second largest dragon compared to Vagar, right? Am I correct in saying that? Arnold's also saying this little kid has such big balls. I mean, hey, you got to give him credit. He had to do what he had to do, right? So basically, she just ushers all of these people in, calls in this giant dragon, and say, at this point, I leave you because I can't do anything else. None of you can do anything else. It is left to the dragon to decide who is going to be the writer. And man, the first person who stood up didn't work out. Apparently, all of them didn't work out because Vermithor had his way as if you're watching a little kid play with his food. And it's just like tossing this person here, tossing this person there, tossing this guy here, burning this guy, eating this guy. It's just crazy. You have everyone running away. But then you see Hugh for a moment being the braver of everyone. You know? There was one girl that was frightened. It's like, wait, don't worry. Follow me. Without even saying anything. Look at me, right? Fano opening. Vermithor was going after her and he's like, no, look at me. I'm the one. I'm ready. Do it. Vermithor's like, hey, I like you. You know why I like you? You have guts. You have balls. You stood up to me. You didn't run away. You could be my dragon rider. And there you go. And Hugh's like, you see this glorious moment. It's like, I did it. This is my time. This is my chance now. And from a distance, they pan over to Queen R. And she's like, oh my God, it's working. This is working. And then you have Ulf, who's like so frightened, running away. He kept running further and deeper into the cavernous caves where the dragons hang out. And stumbled upon Silverwing. Also, we got to see that there are more dragon eggs down below, too. Which is very, very interesting. But this one was a little different. Because he didn't know where he was. Silverwing was kind of hanging out in the back, sleeping. Here's this guy stumbling and bumbling around. Wakes up. Doesn't really looking to, like, punish him. But in a way was being very playful with him. You know? Push on the nose. Push on there. And all Ulf did was just like accepting his fate at this moment. It's like, oh no. Have your way. But Silverwing was just like, cool. You know what? You made it all the way this far in here. All right. I'll be your dragon. And he goes on a joyride. He flies his dragon all over King's Landing. It's like, woohoo! Just like little Anakin in Phantom Menace, in his pod racer, or in his little starship. Qui-Gon told me to sit right here, and I'm going to do what Qui-Gon says. Pew, pew, pew. Let's try a barrel roll. This guy, Ulf, was having a field day with Silverwing. And then Aegon saw it. Like, uh-oh. Aegon's not happy. Starts chasing him. And then Aegon's like, no. Whoa, wait up. We got to turn around. Turn this bus around. We're not ready for this. Why? Because now we see Queen Rhaenyra bold and vigilant. Again, great face acting from Emma Darcy. And behind her stood 3 dragons ready to fight with her. And these are just 3 we see on screen. Let's talk about this wild dragon. That, is it Rena? I can never keep up with all of these names. But you could tell that she is adamant about finding out who this wild dragon is. Who's burning up sheep, eating sheep. I really do think this is cannibal. And I think there's a big potential we're going to see cannibal on this show. Will it be this season? I don't know. Will it be next season? Maybe. But we have 1 episode left. The Dance of the Dragons has been teased, everybody. What's going to happen from here on out? We don't know. But expect this last episode to be fantastic and crazy. And that was episode 7 right there. Arnold saying it's working after 15 dead bastards. Yeah. I mean, you have to go through a lot of bad eggs before you make an awesome omelet. And now it looks like she has an awesome omelet at her call. And you know, we should have known this was coming. Because the minute they started focusing on Hugh earlier in the season, we saw so many moments with Hugh running around. Yeah, we should have known that he was gonna play an important part here. Just like how I knew Adam was gonna play an important part, and Alan. Both of them. The other guy, Ulf, I wasn't sure where we're gonna go with this guy. You know, I thought he was just like he was there for comedy. Yeah, he was kind of like the guy getting free drinks at the bar and all those things. But it looks like he has an important part to play as well in this. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this next episode, this last episode of the season. We've been averaging what, an hour 10 minutes on every episode. I think this last episode may be an hour and a half, maybe an hour 40, maybe. Because I feel like there's a lot to close out. And there's this one moment where we see Alicent kind of floating in the water, seeing the hawk or eagle or falcon flying above her. Almost reminiscent to like a dragon in the sky. But I do feel like maybe she came up with some sort of revelation, something that she's thinking about. So maybe we have yet to see something, see her pull up something for the last episode. Who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Arnold saying that was so stupid. Kill one egg, and the dragon is like, "Oh, nice, thanks, bro. Do you want to ride me?" Well, did we really see him kill the egg? It was like a giant cocoon that he stepped on that revealed the eggs, right? I don't think he necessarily stepped and crushed an egg, but he kind of like unraveled like the cocoon that had the eggs in them, right? It was bad enough that he was near the eggs to begin with. And I'm sure that's why Silver Wings was like, the fuck are you doing over there? You think you could just waltz in here and hang out close to me and my eggs? You know what? You got guts, kid. You got guts. I like you. You can ride me. We'll have fun. And wee, did he have fun. So, what do you think, those of you who are still here, who are fans of House of the Dragon, what do you think is going to happen in this last episode? What are you hoping or expecting to happen? Let's talk about that now. Because, like I said, one episode left. I've been enjoying this season. You know, Kevin earlier asked if I think that this season will get considered for Emmys next year. I think so. Because I think this ended up becoming a stronger season than the first one, in my opinion. You know, a lot of great stuff. A lot of like unraveling and storytelling. We finally got to see dragons being dragons, which is something that everyone's been waiting for. Huge surprises, you know, big deaths. So I think there's a lot of good things to say about this season. You know, my only concern is like, when are we going to get season 3? Is it going to be 2 years from now? 3 years from now? I hope we don't have to wait too long. You know, but what are some of the speculations for episode 8? I was saying, if you want to claim cannibal, you have to eat a person in front of him. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if, is it, what's her name again? Is it Raina? Rini? No, that's my name, Renee. It's another R name, right? The one who's so desperate to get a dragon. Could you imagine if she thinks she comes, let's just say, she comes across the wild dragon, who's like maybe in the middle of eating all these sheep, right? And just looks at her. And she's just like, okay, hey you, come here. Nah, 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 nah. And starts eating this guy in front of him. And she's like, I'm like you. Let me ride you. Disgusting and gross. But would be kind of funny if it really happened. I don't know. But We'll see what happens. It would be, story-wise, it would be fantastic if we see her claim the wild dragon. Right? Because I believe that's never happened before, if I know kind of a little bit of the history. That would be a first. And since she's always been the one person who could never get one, right? It would be so fun to finally see her get one. And it happens to be one of the biggest dragons out there, if not the biggest. And a wild dragon to boot. That could totally turn the tide against Aemont. And yeah, they did show like a little teaser trailer of the next episode, and it looks like there's just a lot of stuff happening. So I didn't even bother like kind of pausing and looking and all those things like that. I was just like, okay, we're in for a treat. We're in for a treat for this last episode. And it's going to be sad to see this show go, at least for now. You know, like I said, I hope we don't have to wait too long for the next season. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Arnold's saying you will see what happens now. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Next, this upcoming Sunday is going to be a big one. Big one. So, yeah, let me know in the chat if you're all excited for House of the Dragon. What else you would like to see happen in this next episode. Or if you want to comment on anything that was discussed today. We talked a lot about so many things. Box office, Deadpool and Wolverine, San Diego Comic-Con, Robert Downey Jr. returning as Doom, the backlash of that announcement, the haters of Deadpool and Wolverine, House of the Dragon. We talked about so many different things. So share your thoughts and comments on everything that we talked about today. And as always, don't forget, hit that like button if you're watching. And don't forget to participate in the poll that's happening right now. That is live and active. If you think it's a good idea for Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Doom in the MCU, let us know. And right before the stream ends, we'll go over the final results of the poll. Work that poll. Arnold saying Caraxes is the most important end dragon in the end. Who is Caraxes again? I need to look it up. Caraxes. House of the Dragon. Oh, that is Daemon's dragon. Right? I'm just curious to see what will happen with Daemon. Will he fall in line and kind of just be like, you know what? Maybe I should just support my wife? Or is he still going to be stubborn and still try to claim the throne on his own? You know? Or is it going to be one of those things where we see him try to do it, not doing so hot, but at the same time, we see Queen R and her dragon army come by. And it's one of those like romantic moments where they're like riding their dragons and they happen to look at each other. And they're like, what's up? I still love you. Let's stop all this fighting. Let's fight together as one. And they just do the thing together. They dance to dragons as Wham's song plays in the background. Endless whisper all over. And they take down that one-eyed freak. I'm not saying that is so stupid. You will see for me the end, like, oh my god, oh no, and like, what the fuck? Too funny. Come on, man. Let's have it happen. You know, they're just there, and they happen to catch each other's eyes, eye to eye. Girl, why we fighting? I love you. I groomed you since you were a kid. Let's get back together. Let's fight as one. Let's take down this one-eyed freak. It would be pretty funny. You know, or maybe if that happens, then she backstabs him. I can't trust you. And then that's when we see the wild dragon rider come out from behind him. Take him down. That you deserve that, you dummy. You will never bend the knee to me. I don't know. Anything can happen. Just like in the MCU, anything's possible, right? Arnold saying, if I could choose a dragon, which dragon would it be? That's a good question. I don't know. There's just something wild about the wild dragon like Cannibal. That's kind of like a wild card. You don't know what could happen. You know, a dragon that doesn't give a shit about eating other dragons or whatever. That if I could tame that guy, I'd be all for it. That means I have a dragon that is up for anything. Like, no holds barred. We'll do whatever it takes. But at the same time, it could be very hard to control too, right? Because dragon will be dragon. Look what happened with Aemon when he couldn't really truly tame his dragon, which ended it to the death of his brother. He was not expecting to happen. Like, uh-oh, I fucked up. Yeah, this was last season, first season. So I don't know, but I think it sounds appealing to me, a dragon like that. What about you, Arnold? Star-Lord is back. Did you get yourself a new controller? Do we have a new controller in hand for your Xbox? Like a less epic return of RDJ? No mask reveal? Arnold, you choose Smaug from The Hobbit? I didn't know we could go outside of Game of Thrones. If that's the case, I choose Pete's dragon. Ever since I was a kid, I was always a fan of Pete's dragon. The original movie, not the new one that they came out with. Arnold loves Cannibal too. See? Started saying, no, your brother's checking it out. Okay. Yeah, definitely check out places like Target, Walmart, Amazon. They usually have great sales on Xbox controllers. I highly recommend you check those places out. All right. What's up, everybody? Again, I hope everyone is doing really well. Let us know if there's anything else you'd love to talk about from everything that we talked about today. When I see sea smoke, it was like I see sea smoke. Dragon from Game of Thrones. I'm slowly getting rid of all my saved tweets of all the backlash from RDJ. It's a lot. I couldn't stop. There was just so many of them. And that wasn't all of them either. That was just a sampling of what I saw. There was definitely much, much more than that. No, dragon, I mean Drogon. Oh, Drogon. That's right. From Game of Thrones. I remember. By the way, and I think this is an interesting thing to kind of highlight here. You know, now that we know that we're getting Avengers Doomsday in 2026. And I think I said this in a previous stream, right? I said that, you know, there are a lot of movies that we're seeing this year. And there's going to be a lot of movies we're seeing next year. But 2026 may be one of the craziest slates of movies when it comes to geek nerd fandom, because there's just so many coming out in 2026. And I have this chart here. Look at all the movies coming out in 2026. Avengers Doomsday, Batman 2, the Matt Reeves Batman, Dune Messiah, which is the third Dune movie, Shrek 5, Jordan Peele's next movie, Supergirl. So by this time, we will already have Superman from James Gunn, but this is a follow-up to that. The Mandalorian and Grogu, another Star Wars Untitled film, the next Hunger Games, which is Sunrise of the Reaping, the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, Aang the Last Airbender. I didn't even know that was a movie happening. The first of the new Lord of the Rings movies, helmed by Peter Jackson. This is the one directed by Andy Serkis. The Hunt for Gollum. Frozen 3, the sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I'm all for. The Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie that was teased at the end of the last Transformers movie. Toy Story 5, Mike Flanagan's Exorcist, the Street Fighter movie, Spielberg's next movie, the UFO movie he's working on, and whatever the hell Project Hail Mary is. What the F? Those are a lot of freaking movies in 2026, man. I'm going to have a lot to talk about that year, and I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait. Arnold, do I think DC will try to keep up with something big? Absolutely. I think once Superman drops, depending on the reaction on that, that's going to lead the way to what they're going to be doing moving forward. I mean, they already have so much riding on Superman right now that they definitely want it to perform well. They want it to be well received. You know, because if that's well received, then there'll be a lot of anticipation for Supergirl. I think Creature Commandos is coming out either the end of this year or early next year, which is the first animated series under his helm. We got Peacemaker 2 that he's coming out with, right? He already said that the Batman stuff is in its own universe. So that's going to be huge. I mean, there's a lot. So. I'm not sure if the captain was still alive who would tell RDJ, don't F this up. Name the movie reference? You don't have to be naked standing on the ledge of a skyscraper to guess correctly. I don't know what you're referring to, Star-Lord. Is Mike Myers returning? I thought he was retired. Yeah, no, Mike Myers is returning to voice Shrek. I think, who is this? I think during the press of Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy spilled the beans during one of his interviews. He even said that before Shrek 5 was announced, he said he already filmed dialogue of Donkey in that. And he also said that Donkey was going to get a spin-off series. Arnold saying, bro, I'm going to go sleep now, get up tomorrow, go to the gym, then work until night. Which, only the best. And, well, thank you so much, Arnold. I really appreciate the kind words as always. And I hope you have a great sleep. I know you've been working hard lately, so I hope tomorrow is a great day for you. Always appreciate it, Arnold. Yeah, you're definitely one of the you're one of the legends of the streams. So I definitely appreciate it. The references from Bad Boys? Oh, oh my God. Okay, I get it. Yeah. All right. I remember now. It's funny because it's like I recognize there are some stuff that I remember. Yeah, now I remember at the wedding. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's funny. Some movies I can remember a lot of the quotes so like this, and then there are others I'm just like. But now that you brought that up, I totally remember now. Yeah. But I'm curious. Out of all the movies listed here, anyone who's left watching, which movie are you mostly excited for out of this big list? I think for me, to be completely honest with you, I'm more excited. And this is not saying that I'm dismissing all these other movies. Obviously, I'm going to be excited for Avengers Doomsday. Obviously, I'm going to be excited for Batman 2, Dune Messiah. But the one big movie that stood out that I'm excited for the most is, well, there are two of them: Jordan Peele's movie and Spielberg's UFO movie. Because, Spielberg already has done a UFO based film. Two of them, actually, if you count Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. So, what could this movie be about? I don't think it's a sequel to E.T. Let's not even throw that out there. But I do wonder if this could be adjacent to Close Encounters, maybe a follow up. I don't know. But there's a lot to be excited for in 2026. The second reference is Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, got it. Okay. Starla, did you see Deadpool and Wolverine? Because if you did, you didn't tell me. Not that you had to, but I would have loved to know if you finally had a chance to see it. Is it just me or is my video like very light? I don't know. Oh, lead clips. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. I can't wait to see the movie again. I'm planning to probably watch it again on Thursday. Since I'm gonna be watching Trap already, then I'll make it a double feature. Yeah, and if you want to hear my thoughts on Trap, I always do my movie reviews on Friday. So definitely check out Friday stream. Usual time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll be talking about the movie Trap and anything else that I may have watched during the week. I don't know if I'll be streaming on Wednesday. If I do, it will be also around 3 p.m., but I don't know yet. I may have to do some things on my end. Yeah, Stoller, I know what you mean. I mean, everyone loves recording stuff at the theaters, right? Well, I mean, if it wasn't for those guys, I would not have been able to see the leaked footage of the Fantastic Four stuff that they showed at San Diego Comic Con, which I was very much interested in seeing. Now, I didn't look for anything that because they did show footage of Thunderbolts. They also did show a little bit more stuff from Captain America, but I chose not to do that. I chose not to look for those because Fantastic Four was more interesting to me because they didn't film anything yet. So what were they going to show? I thought it was going to be like, the previs stuff, the animated stuff that they usually use as storyboards. But no, they actually filmed like test footage stuff. They actually filmed and produced what looked like a mini teaser with all the actors involved. It was bonkers to me that they went the lengths they did just to show something for the San Diego Comic-Con crowd. That could be something that I could see them potentially add to like a bonus feature on a Blu-ray or something. It's crazy. Get off the internet or buy a movie theater. I remember one of the dreams I've had growing up was I've always thought it would be cool to own a movie theater. Not so much anymore. I feel like it's going to be too difficult to maintain that type of business. You did see Bad Boys, but you haven't finished it yet. How are you liking it so far? Because I enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed that movie. I wonder if you agreed with a lot of things I said about it. Or if you think differently. Also, I've been very busy watching the Olympics. Who else is watching the Olympics? I mean, I stayed up. I stayed up past, yeah, I was up to like 7 a.m. Sunday just so I could watch the live feed of the women's gymnastics. So I was saying I like it, but not so much. I like the reactions. Okay. I'm curious what you're going to think about the ending. Reactions are a bit annoying sometimes. Whose reactions? You're not talking about like YouTube reactions, are you? Or maybe you are. I don't know. What do you mean? Let me know. La 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 di di do. All right, I think now is a great time. Okay, last call for anyone who has not cast their vote yet in the poll in the chat. Make sure you do so now so that we could tally up all the votes. Again, the big question is it a good idea having Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom? Let us know. You have one more minute and then I'll close things out and then I'll wrap things up. Yeah, I'm watching YouTube reactions of the new Bad Boys. Got it. Okay. Yeah, reactions to movies sometimes on YouTube are interesting. I think one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing those myself was that in a way I felt like people were watching it just because they want to watch the movie, not because they want to really watch your reaction to it. So I felt like it was just, yeah. It's a lot of work to put into editing something like that. You know, and sometimes I felt like it wasn't really worth it. I'd rather just review it and talk about it. Have a conversation about it. Or maybe I could like do a mixture of the two. Watch something, record my reactions to it, and then like sprinkle in some of their reactions to things as I'm talking about it. Almost like how Red Letter Media does it, in a way. All right, y'all, I am ending the poll officially. Tally up all the votes, and then we'll recap everything that we talked about. Well, no, I'm not going to recap everything I talked about, but we'll recap the results of the poll. Just wait for that stuff to refresh. So again, quick reminder, next time, definitely streaming on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be reviewing the new movie from M. Night Shyamalan, Trap, starring Josh Hartnett. I'm looking forward to catching that, and hopefully I'll be talking very fondly of that movie. Who knows? We'll see. Don't know if I'm streaming it on Wednesday. The best way to know is that I will make an announcement on the channel. So if you're a subscriber to the channel, you will see me make announcements on the channel. And I'll let everyone know. And then if that's a go or not. So, Starlord, you know what's really annoying? What's annoying? Tell me. Also, just recapping the poll results again, 71% people on the horizontal stream saying they think it's a good idea to have Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom. 28% says no. Starlord, my Ethernet wire always slipping out of my damn plug. That sucks. You need to fix that. You can't go on like that. That's terrible. That's terrible. Why is it slipping? Is the port loose, or is it the plug that maybe the clicky thing, the thing that latches into place is loose or broken? A new cable might be able to fix that. It's funny how the vertical stream takes a long time to kind of refresh stuff in the chat. I find that always very fascinating. I guess because there's so much activity happening in the vertical stream. It's the clicky thing that's broken. Ah, yeah, that could be annoying. Hopefully you could get a new one. And I have to hold my Android because it's small. That sucks. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to start wrapping things up now. For some reason, again, the vertical stream, the poll has not refreshed itself with the final results. I don't know why that is. But it was overly positive that people thought that Robert Downey Jr. returning as Doctor Doom in the MCU was a good idea. So is it going to be a good idea? I guess we will see in time. But a lot of people have made their voices and thoughts heard online. Always fascinating to hear that stuff. But we'll see. And what a great way to end the stream in the day. Starlord has got himself a brand new controller. Yeah! I am so happy for you, man. That's great. It's always fun to get something new, isn't it? All right, y'all. I'm going to start wrapping things up. So as always, I want to thank everyone of you who have tuned in, joined in on this fun conversation today. A lot to talk about. It was great to be able to share all of these things with all of you. Obviously, major shout out, as always, to Starlord. Starlord, always a pleasure. A legendary figure on the channel and in the streams. AKB also. T, thank you again so much for the memberships and the gift memberships to everybody. Huge shout out again to Mr. Spawntrap as well. Hopefully you get to see them come back in a future stream. And on the vertical stream, as always, Arnold, another legendary figure here. Clone Wars for life as well. Always happy. Kevin Davis, Scorched, Anoop. Really thankful and happy for all of you guys to be here. And a huge pleasure streaming and having these fun conversations with all of you. So I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you all have a great week ahead of you. Starlord, what game are you going to be playing with your new controller? Let us know. Saying it is his legacy to be an idiot. Well, so am I. I am an idiot. I am a moron because I love movies. And I love movies like Deadpool and Wolverine. So it's all over for me. But as I go, I wish you all a wonderful day, a wonderful week. I will catch you all again on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, maybe Wednesday. I will let all of you guys know. But until then and until next time, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch you all in the next one. All right? Peace out, y'all.